This person is a monster. It's a subhuman. This person doesn't think like you and I do. This person is not going to make sense.
Welcome to Jonbenét Ramsey Sketchy Details Part 14. If you have not watched 1 through 13, it's highly advised that you do because these are in chronological order. This video, along with every video in the Jonbenét Ramsey Sketchy Details series, are intended for educational purposes only and are not intended for children at all. So for number 70, we're going to refer back to where I talk about Patsy and her Rainbow Girl days. Well, just the other day, I was cruising around on the internet and I stumbled upon this website called sermonindex.net. And there was a forum, and I found this. Rainbow Girls, ? Hi all, I need some advice. My wife and I lead a recovery ministry at our church. We have a mother that comes to our class, and her daughter is 16 years old, is suffering from bulimia. I've never dealt with this before and would like any feedback I can get. As the subject states, this girl apparently went to some meetings called Rainbow Girls. I've never heard of it, but it seems to be a branch of the Freemasons. She was 14 at the time, and it seems her problems started around the same time. This family are wonderful Christian people, but they don't know what to do with their daughter. It is a very serious problem. Currently, we are just trying to offer support and prayer. The daughter does not want anyone to know about her problem. This girl vomits every day. They have found containers of vomit hidden in her bedroom. Now, unfortunately, this post was all the way back in 2004. It's a very long time, but I thought this was extremely worth noting because it's really hard to find any first-hand accounts that are negative about the Rainbow Girls, and I just thought it kind of odd that I find it on a religious website. So I thought that was crazy, thought I'd throw that in there, and thought it was worth noting.
There is something that is just not right. These people are too well orchestrated. They're too great at performing in front of the public. That press conference was just sinister. It was bizarre.
You don't talk about it in families. Siblings don't talk to siblings. No, Jonbenét had tape over her mouth. That is the strongest message we have. You will never speak of it. You will never speak of it.
Thinking about how the killer might think and behave. I'm not into police work. What I hear here is something that is not surprising to me. I've thought all along that what we were dealing with was a sexual paraphilia, a sadomasochistic kind of killing. And when I hear about the ligatures and the bondage and the use of this stick, it seems to me that this is something that was carefully prepared for, that this was a ritual type of sexual activity. I'd be very curious to know if there were signs of struggle. It seems to me that the absence of other bruising and tearing and evidence of assault on Jonbenét's body would indicate to me that this is almost something that she may have experienced in the past. I'm going to be very open that I think that this was some type of sadomasochistic sexual activity.
of gravitational flow from some small vessels. She was already dead.
Strangled?
She had her collar up. The rope was around the neck. Make sure that there are no marks on the neck. The collar, the rope came down. The sleeve was pulled down. Make sure that it never touched the skin, so there would be no indication of this. And then when you tie something around someone's neck, then you can inadvertently get a vagal reflex. The vagus nerve, the 10th of 12 cranial nerves coming out from the brain, one on the right, one on the left, sends fibers into the chest, controls the heart, controls the lungs. When you apply pressure to the neck, that vagal reflex can lead to bradycardia, slowing down of the heart, and then you get cardiorespiratory arrest. That is what led to the death of Jonbenét Ramsey.
Do these images remind you of anywhere? Of any place? How about now, if I give you a side-by-side comparison? I'm not saying that this is the same basement, but there's a theme here when it comes to the background scenery of these bondage S&M type porns. Don't you think it's a little weird that she was found in a place that looks exactly like the type of place that these type of porn films are filmed? This is extremely fucking sketchy. I don't only want to bring your attention to the fact that the backgrounds are exactly the same, but the techniques that were being used in these images, where the women or girls are being literally hung by their necks, made me start to question the red mark that was on Jonbenét's neck. Let's compare these two pictures together. Keep in mind when you look at these pictures, yes, Jonbenét's is darker and more pronounced. In this picture, she has already been dead for over 12 hours. On top of that, we suspect that she was face down, meaning the blood would pool to the side that she was laying on. Just keep that in mind when you compare the two marks on these two girls' necks. We've obviously already known since the beginning that that mark was created by the rope. We just didn't necessarily know exactly how the rope created it. And for most of us people who are not sick fucks, we think of stuff like this image of her being dragged. This image is very accurate, but this image, this depiction, which is somebody's theory of what happened, is very accurate, but it's missing one key factor, the explicit factor of this bondage S&M porn. Do you guys remember from the poem, the line, the one in lieu did err? These pictures, in comparison, also show us what that error was. You may have noticed that the porn images have a very thick rope. The rope around Jonbenét's neck was no bigger than a goddamn shoelace. To me, that seems like an extremely amateur mistake to make. These people that partake in this type of sexual activity will tell you that the first and most important thing to them is safety and knowledge of what you're doing. So, with that being said, this type of thin rope mistake seems very, very amateur, in my opinion. The more and more I discover about this case, and the more dots that I connect, or at least make associations between the two, I'm becoming more and more convinced that that very well may be Ghislaine Maxwell in the background of Jonbenet's picture, where she's wearing that bonnet. This poor little girl, I have no doubt in my heart, was subjected to child pornography. And Ghislaine Maxwell did that shit. She was one of the main procurers of children for the people that would visit Little St. James Island. And have no doubt that the things that some of those children on that island went through were filmed and sold. Why just torture a child for your pure sick enjoyment when you can also record their torture and then profit immensely off of that video? These women that were force-fed to us in the mainstream media, the accusers of Jeffrey Epstein, are just the tip of the iceberg. What they won't tell you are about the extremely young children who were murdered on that island. JFK said it best when he told us that we around the world are opposed by a monolithic conspiracy.